Are you sure on the far right? Oh, yeah, because these are GP promos. So, yeah.
It's see, exhume, ponder, thought seize, brainstorm.
Yeah. So he takes the exhume, even though it's locked right now on Thorn, and he knows he has another Thorn. So that's interesting.
He probably assumes that decays and or.
But off of basic island.
Well, eventually, I mean.
You already have a Thought item play though. So do you really worry about
Echoing Truth? Sorry.
Okay. Echoing Truth makes sense.
I was thinking it was Cage. No.
Echoing Truth makes sense. And here we see a 2-mana Ponder. Always a little bit defeated when I have to cast a Ponder for 2 mana, tapping myself out. He is going to find potentially a Force of Will.
Is that a City of Traders?
Yeah, unfortunately the Force of Will not going to do what he wants it to under Thorn of Amethyst. Oh, and so this time at least they did get the Thought Knot card exiled, so that's good. Mm-hmm. They tightened up a little bit. Like to see that. How do you feel about Jesse's split of additions on his foils?
Is Jesse just going to cast another broken creature now?
I think so. I believe so, yeah. I think we're just seeing a 6-mana
Batterskull.
Batterskull.
Hard cast Batterskull,
yeah.
Sure.
So how do we feel about Jesse's Expedition Ancient Tomb and Tempest non-foil Ancient Tomb?
I was going to yell about it, but then something happened in the match, and we had to talk about that instead.
Okay. So you're not a fan?
No, I think it's nonsense.
As long as it makes
one
2.
expedition.
As long as it makes 2, I think it's all right. But I agree it's a little bit frustrating.
Playing with foil. I like not playing with foils because I get super paranoid about bent cards and stuff.
Okay.
I mean, I think that I'm not saying, I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure there's a lot of foils in his deck, and they're all different kinds of things or whatever, so it's totally fine.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely a paranoid guy, and you won't see me playing with foils if I can avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, personally, my deck is as foil as I can afford it to be.
Yeah, and that's fine too. I try to shy away from having like 3 foils in your deck or whatever.
Oh yeah. So I almost shaboogled myself. I almost really put myself in a tight spot by foiling out all of the non-lands in my Miracles deck.
Okay.
And then I realized that I had foiled 31 of the 39 spells and left all 21 lands unfoiled. So I did a very smart purchase of $400 worth of basic lands.
So Dan fetching Trop is a hard signal for Decay being at least in his deck.
Yes. Oh, and here we see Jesse drawing all his dust. So if somehow he falls behind on board, he'll still have a way to rally back also.
Yeah, I think he's better off just not casting it because of the ley line at the moment.
It also costs 8, and he has 6 right now.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't blow up a single thing other than his own ley line. It just does nothing on this board.
And his own germ token.
Yeah, so I think it's quite poor right now, but it's a good way to backdoor if somehow a Grizzlebrand enters, because notably Dan's deck not Sneak and Show, so the creature will not ever have haste.
Nope.
And with the second Thorn here, Jesse has been hemorrhaging life, but this Batterskull lifelink will catch him right back up. And Dan is dead on board this turn.
Eldrazi is like the stacks deck of the format.
Oh, 100%. It's the Thorn of Amethyst deck. We even saw the early brews maybe about 8-9 months ago when Oath of the Gatewatch was fresh off the presses, where you had people like Jerry T just jamming it as a stacks deck. There were multiple Trinispheres, maxed copies of Thorn, multiple copies of Sphere as well, and then we saw it become much more of a modern colorless Eldrazi synergistic scary monsters deck.
Kind of like an aggressive prison deck or an aggressive hate deck.
Yeah.
I really like I kind of like it. The play patterns of it is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's, and we're back up in the booth while there's sideboard for game 3, but I feel like there's
it feels like aggro shops.
Too big, there's just a little bit of a too notable disparity between the cards that do something and the cards that do nothing.
Yeah.
And if you draw the right amount of lands, you feel like you can never lose, and if you draw one more or one less, you feel like you can never win.
Yeah, it feels exactly like the blue-white deck did in Standard. If you don't have Copter smoothing out your draws, sometimes you just brick off.
Like the blue-white flash deck?
Yeah,
sure.
It feels. The cards are significantly different.
I would never
but
compare
feels similar,
like a flexible, sweet tempo deck with a bunch of powerful mythics in it to a deck that's literally just play the craziest thing I can. And
sure, but from a philosophical standpoint, they're quite similar, right? They both functionally live off the top. Your cards are just less modal.
I don't think they're similar at all. I think that it's more similar to a ramp deck almost.
Really? Okay.
I mean, the blue-white deck was unique. A tempo deck.
The blue deck was a tempo deck, but only when it was able to leverage Copter into Mage and keep the opponent on the back foot. When you had to be the Gideon, Flash, and Avacyn deck, you were much more of a man, I really hope I don't draw land 9 this turn.
Yeah. There definitely was minimal flood insurance in that deck as well. I'll agree with you in that regard.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to reference.
Yeah, I mean that just doesn't. Yeah, sure. Now they both have minimal flood insurance. Like a lot of decks have been like that. The 4-color Saheeli deck in Standard has minimal mana sinks
Yeah,
too.
but that's why we've seen people throw Marvels in because or Whirl
Yeah.
of Virtuoso or whatever because you
Yeah.
just have like 18 energy.
I almost wanted something like Duskwatch Recruiter
So I've actually seen Duskwatch Recruiter in the modern Bant Eldrazi deck, and I was
or a
quite
couple
impressed by it.
Trackers main deck or something like
Yeah.
that.
Tracker is a bonkers card. We
I've
saw it
been-
as a 4 of in the lands deck. That card's just an all-star in every format.
I've been tweaking 4-color Saheeli a little bit, trying to play it, and every time I change something, it just feels bad. So I just go back and do what Jerry says.
Jerry T, there are worse people to be listening to.
Yeah, I told him I was like, I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Get ready, and he was like,
As
Word.
long as he's not telling you to play Thopter Sword in Modern, I would always listen to him.
Yeah.
Thopter Sword has a weird soft spot in his heart that I question, but
He broke a format with it years
Yeah.
and years ago.
But
They
that
called
was
it
the extended
Depths.
deck, right?
Thopter Depths.
that was the
yep.
extended deck, yeah, which got Hexmage banned for Modern, or Depths banned for Modern. One of the two. They might both be banned, I'm not certain.
Look at all the sweet formats we're talking about. Too bad we're covering like Soul Land,
Well, right
Thought
now-
Not Seer, hate out all your cards.
Right now we're covering Shuffle Cam, so that's every format, right? Everyone mulligans.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's mulliganing here. They're just
No,
shuffling.
but I mean, every format has Shuffle Cam, whether you have fetches or not.
They're just carefully shuffling their decks that have foil cards in them.
Yeah. Well, Dan also, I believe, is borrowing the deck, so he's being extra careful.
And we're back down to the match, and life
Yeah.
is way above average right now.
Yeah. So hopefully we can see some good sevens. See a sweet stack battle, if you will, even though you've seemed to dagger me every time I bring up that phrase.
Oh no, I don't mind the stack battle.
See a nice Force of Will trying to fight a lock piece, maybe. Okay, so Dan's 7 was looked pretty weak. It looked like it had 2 or 3 fatties and not enough lands.
Yeah, so there's a lot of tension there. Like
Yeah.
the order in which you draw your cards, and if you can get the expensive cards
Yeah.
out of your hand because they do almost nothing when
Yeah.
when they're not part of the
Yeah.
part of the smoothness.
Careful
of the
Study
good draws.
is low key the best card in the deck because it's often better than Brainstorm because it serves a role towards enabling a combo
Because
and
your
it filters
cards,
just as
certain
well.
cards get better in the graveyard
Yeah.
and what have you. So it puts a ton of pressure on Careful Study.
Yeah. And it looks like Jesse was able to keep his 7. I definitely saw that it had a City of Traders. I'm not sure if it has a Chalice or a Thorn or any such lock piece.
One
though.
thing Dan has to worry about with the mulligan is that lines like Thoughtseize Myself, Reanimate are just less likely to come together
Yes.
just because you have less cards, and those are often like kind of shifty to begin with.
Yeah, and
but
also post board, he may have something like a Warping Wheel to counter your Reanimate anyway, which is notable, the fact that Reanimate's a sorcery and able to be countered by Warping
so
Wheel.
Dan has kept his 6, and I saw
And Jesse has a ley line. So
I
this-
saw a Reanimate, a Brainstorm, a Tropical Island, another fetch land.
Yeah. A double ley
double
line.
ley line.
I mean, if you got both, you might as well gem them. You don't have a Brainstorm to put them back. So, they're getting Echoing Truth or they're not. You know, I think that
Yeah, I don't think there's any added value from the second one.
but I don't think there's any reason to keep it in your hand.
No, I mean, I don't think. Yeah, that's what I kind of mean. There's like
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt you to play the second one.
Yeah.
It doesn't really help you either.
But you're just never casting it for 4 and you can't
Yeah.
Brainstorm it back away, so the being
There's like
down the card doesn't
no
matter.
added value from holding it. Is
Yeah.
kind of what I meant.
Okay,
But
yeah.
I'm unsure, like, if you can. Maybe you get it truth and then like can replay the other one a turn later with Urborg or
Okay,
something.
but you're already replaying that same first one anyway, if they're
Yeah,
both
yeah.
unsummoned.
Yeah, and like they're never gonna truth one in response to casting
Yeah.
the other one or something crazy like that.
So he led
like,
on an Ayavugan, so he may be on a hand that has 2 Ayavugans, but
He's got a land. For
it's
sure.
oh, you just never lead on City of
Oh, he
Traders.
just
That's
does,
what he was
does
doing.
he just have turn 2 Thought Not Seer
Yeah.
and double ley line?
Yeah,
Man, this deck is real fair sometimes.
yeah. This deck's gasoline. I'm so glad we can't play it in
Whoever
Modern
thought
anymore.
like it was okay to just print this Thought Not Seer card? Oh man.
Oh, I'm sure they just tested it for standard like they usually do. Made sure it costs 4, and
I
all the
played
times they cast it.
I played Jeskai in old standard with this card in my deck. I went like turn 2 Soulfire Grandmaster, turn 3 Mantis Rider, turn 4 Thought Not Seer, turn 5 Reality Smasher.
You're insane.
I just had 4 Shivan Reefs and 4 Battlefield
Yeah,
Force.
this is what happens when WotC prints mana and then lets us play with it instead of actually testing things.
Yeah, people just do broken things like this, and I'm like, yo, I want to curve this thing with Mantis Rider.
Well, so
And they're like, you can have all the fun you
the
want.
most disgusting thing is someone in R&D was just like,
Does he
this
have
card
Spirit
only-
Guide? Oh!
Ooh, Spirit Guide pays for days.
Oh, that was
The
broken.
savagery. And Jesse's just like, I don't care, take whatever.
So
Doesn't matter.
at EE5, I did some coverage there for Vintage and Legacy, and in Legacy, someone top decked a Lightning Bolt for the win, or it might have actually been in Vintage. Regardless, they top decked a Lightning Bolt for the win. I went crazy. I just like yelled across the room.
Full on Randy
and they're like,
Bueller.
The feature match area can hear you. Cut it out. And I'm like, all right.
Full on
But
Randy Bueller Lightning
the
Helix.
Spirit Guide to pay for days.
It's up there.
That was great.
That's definitely top 5 of this event. That and the Gaia's Cradle are definitely 2 of my hashtag top 5.
That Gaia's Cradle play was absurd.
But the second one doesn't get to also be in the top 5, though. They count as one.
Yeah, that entire match.
Yeah.
Tom really wove it together.
Sorry, Tom Ellis, though. You only get one of the 5. You don't get to have both in one round.
The thing about it is just like Eldrazi, just the clock is like built in.
Yeah, the clock
the
is insane.
disruption is like why you play the cards against an unfair deck.
He's
and the clock
cast
is
7
just
mana
built
worth of threats, tapping
has 2
one
mana
land
in
that
play.
actually makes mana.
Yeah.
Oh, 11 mana worth of threats. This is so fair. Dan's having a great time, as you can
in.
tell.
I think Dan is conceding the game.
Dan's having so much fun.
2 copies of Entomb.
2 copies of
Oh,
Entomb
yeah.
into Leyline. Yeah, Dan's just loving it right now. Super fun.
Brainstorm. All right, at
Yeah.
least he's incentivized to play the game a little longer.
Yeah, but he's at 8, so he's just dead. He should just show these and not even try to figure out what goes back. He's just stone dead.
Well, if he had land plus show and tell, he could have possibly gotten.
Yeah.
You know, if he brainstormed into Grizzlebrand show and tell land or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So he's gonna truck on and actually
He had
take
it
the
out.
lethal.
I mean, now
Let Jesse
he's
get
dead,
the hit.
But he had a brainstorm that would have been considered an out.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesse just puts another huge creature into play and kills him
Yeah.
or whatever. But
So that's an unfortunate way to go out, but that's what happens when you're a prison deck and your hate cards are great.
and so that's the match.
Yeah.
2-1 in favor of Jesse.
Yeah. And we do in fact have about